made this race team a lot better. And it looks like that you guys have been really, really close to not making it just better, but making it great. You've been awful close to winning a lot more races than the 3 that you won. Talk a little bit about that and that process, because you've stepped up to the plate and you've taken a lot of responsibility when the race was over with, that you felt like that you didn't do exactly what you needed to do. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of points to hit on there, but the year started out great. I mean, just kind of coming in and feeling things out. You know, we went to the Clash, we finished 2nd and 3rd. We went to Daytona, we were leading 1st and 2nd place of the race on the 500-mile mark. You know, so and then we went to Fontana, we won there, and then it kind of cooled off a little bit. You know, and we had some good runs. We won at Talladega. We also won at Gateway. We've had a lot of top 10s. I think I'm 2nd most top 10s of the year. I'm 2nd most top 5s of the year. So, you know, we just had too many of those bad finishes, the 35th or worse. You know, the DNFs also were kind of filtered in there. So a lot of that was on me. Just I'm still trying to push and make the most out of our cars on maybe sometimes not the greatest of days, or the car's not feeling the greatest, but trying to make the speed out of it what I can. And you know, carry it a little bit like KFB knows how to do, but you know, this car is way different than the old car. It's a lot peakier of trying to run up and be good to the 100% mark, and then you fall off of it and you're crashed. You know, where the old car, you could slip and slide a little bit and you get crooked and you catch it and move on, you know, but still trying to find all that out. But the team has really worked hard, and all the engineering staff has really worked hard on making our stuff better and continuing to improve and find more areas that we can get better at. The pit crew's really been trying hard and working hard down at the pit crew training facility. Ray and all those guys have been doing a good job, and you know, working with Team Chevy this year on the sim program. That's probably sometimes our biggest strength, but also our greatest demise, is relying what we rely on the sim, you know, and going in there and doing that. We ran Kyle Larson's setup on it for Homestead from last year when he about lapped the field twice, you know, and it was tight in the middle and loose off, and then we put in what we thought was a good setup from a setup that we ran earlier this year and we won with, you know, and it was faster. It was 2.5 tenths faster on sim, and we're like, man, we really got something here. We're going to go over there, we're going to kick their butt, we're going to show Kyle Larson what Homestead really is. And we sure did back in 20th all day long. So don't do that, you know, but the sim told us that was the right thing to do. So obviously the sim was not right. So it's just tough. That's a never-ending circle, it seems.
I want to talk to you about KFB. You mentioned it already. You've been very candid this year about the fact that you felt like you didn't drive the car the way it needed to be driven at times this year. Specifically, what does this car require out of you that the old car didn't?
Like I said before, it's just the grip level of it seems to be peakier. Like you're climbing up 80%, 90%, you get to that 100% mark, and man, that's a hard edge of razor's blade. You fall off the other side and you're crashed, you know. So just look at Texas, for instance. You know, when we were running there, I was running at that 90-95% range, and I was moving my way up through the field. We got up to third by the second caution, I think it was. Actually, by the first caution, we had just pitted under green for the first pit stop, and we were up to third. And then on the restart, I started in the outside lane, and the resin or the spray or whatever, they didn't put any down, but like it felt like the right front tire was flat because it just had something of buildup on the tire. And I was like, I thought I had a flat. I was going to come to pit road, and I'm like, man, but it's not soft feeling. Like so it's not a flat, but there's something weird happening. And I'm like, there's nothing. So in my mind, I'm like, there's nothing weird happening. That's just you. You're being an idiot. Like, drive this thing, go. And so I send it back off into turn one like I did 2 laps earlier, and she's backwards, you know. So it's just stuff like that is just so mind-boggling on exactly what this thing is doing, and still trying to learn the nuances of it.
Kyle, you're one of those guys, and it's pretty rare breed that when you get in that car, you pull those belts tight, you do all those things, and you're 100% all of the time, right? How do you find that little bit extra every once in a while when you need it? That's what a lot of people don't have. They get to the max and they can't go over that. Yeah. We watched you go over that quite a bit.
Well, when I was teammates with Jimmy Johnson a long time ago, and it was only a couple of years, you know, we kind of talked about that, how he loves to drive a loose race car. He likes to drive it off the right rear. And I tried to run his stuff, and I just love to just hustle the race car. And if I don't have that right rear stick, I can't hustle it. Like, I'm just sitting there waiting for the right rear to stick, and I'm slow when that happens, you know? So I have to be able to pound it in the corner and feel that right front to then be able to drive the loose into it, make the car loose, you know? And that's where I make my speed. But, you know, a lot of times drivers will talk about that 90%, 95%, 100% range. And I have found more of my success in the 90 to 95% range than I have 95 to 100. And so it's about getting back into that. But when you get back into that with this car right now, with as equal as everybody is, you know, you're 10th, you're 11th, you're 8th, you're 9th, you know, you're somewhere in that range. If you can ride that 99 to 100% range all the time, you can be in the top 10 if you're in the top 3 if your car will carry it. But sometimes, like Texas, it's not there, and you can't give it all of that.
And you only know when it's too late.
When it's too late. With this car, it is too late fast.
It gets too late early with this car, doesn't it?
Yeah,
sometimes?
exactly.
Yeah. Every race team, every organization has its own feel to it, right? You were at Hendrick for a while. They've got their own way. Gibbs has their own way. KBM, you established your own atmosphere and your own way of doing things there. And now you're here at RCR. Can you compare and contrast a little bit? Because this place, from what I hear from people that have worked here and driven here, this place is a little different.
It is, and I think the difference is you know, the location, right? Like it's in Welcome, North Carolina, which is north of Charlotte. We're an hour and 20 minutes away from down there. So the hub of all the other race teams are within a 40 minute radius of Charlotte, or maybe a 30-minute radius of Charlotte. So there's a lot more people down there to pull from, and the pool is greater of talented people and whatnot to get down there. But to bring them up here costs more money, right? Because you got to travel further, more time away from the family, things like that. And then the other thing too up here though is what's neat about what is up here is the racer's racer, you know. And everybody that's up here that's been here for a while, that's worked here for a long time, you know, they know that racing isn't 9 to 5. It's not a 9 to 5 job. It's a 7 to 7, sometimes a 7 to midnight job, you know. So long hours are put in. There's a lot of dedication. There's a lot of cool stuff that kind of happens around here. So RC's done a great job of building on that philosophy over the years of the racer's racer, and that's me. Like, that's who I am. You know, I tell Samantha all the time whenever I'm at Brexton shop, she's texting me, hey, when are you going to be home for dinner? I'm like, you have no idea what racing is. Like, sometimes you don't come home for dinner.
She still
like,
doesn't understand.
Yeah, just leave it in the microwave. I'll get it later, you know. That's just what it is. I remember as a kid growing up, you know, my grandmother would come in the garage and be like, you got school tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, but I got to finish this one more thing. I'm not done yet. She goes, you've been out here all day. That's the time, man. Yeah, you got to put in the time.
I want to go back and talk a little bit about KBM. When that all happened just a few weeks ago, was that one of those deals where it's like, was that like a kick in the gut, or was that like a, man, just a big relief? You mentioned your son. You guys are spending a lot of time together. Does this open up that opportunity as well?
Yeah, so the KBM stuff, it happened really fast. Like, honestly, we were talking about May, June, July with Chevy and the other key partners that we have in the truck series level of what are we going to do with a common chassis? How can we build a chassis for everybody to use and utilize all that? And KBM, we wanted Rowdy Manufacturing to do that. And the other all of the teams couldn't agree to that. Everybody wanted to build their own. And I'm like, you guys are crazy. You know, like, they wanted to build their own. They're like, well, why can't we do it? And the other niece was another one, and they were like, well, why can't we do it? And I'm like, we have the proven track record. The rest of you guys don't. Like, our stuff is good. And so anyways, when Spire was involved in that conversation, they wanted to buy the KBM stuff and use it, and they wanted the updated, latest, greatest everything. And I said, well, this is all not happening. Like, it's all not working. I said, you know what? If you want that truck, you just buy the whole thing and you do it yourself. And so they knocked back on the door 2 weeks later and said, okay, we'll take it. And I was like dumbfounded. Like, I had no idea that they would take the bait. But it happened. And honestly, on the flip side of that, it's very bittersweet. Like, I love all the people there. I love going to KBM. I love the race shop. Samantha and I built that shop from when it was dirt to what it is to today, and we've had amazing fan days and everything else, and people in and out of there with great employees and things like that have made that place successful, and it brought 7 owners championships and over 100 race wins and whatnot. So it's been a lot of fun, you know, but it is going to be bittersweet to see it end and be no longer, but we're calling it New KBM, which is Brexton's Racing. and our grassroots level stuff with racing micros and bandoleros and legends and whatever we're all going to get into. So I'm excited about that as well too, and what's in store with Braxton, spending more time on his racing efforts and getting him to be a Cup Series racer one day if that's his dream.
I talked to Danny Stockman yesterday. He said it's a little sad. He said because the wind banners are coming down,
Yeah.
and, things are little by little starting to move on out the door. Is that something you're gonna be part of, or do you have to just kind of let somebody else handle that because it's a little emotional?
Yeah, I mean, we're moving it. Yeah, I've been doing some moving, not a lot of moving. Samantha and her parents and our building guy and some of the team guys have also been helping about getting some stuff out of there and whatnot. We picked all the family photos and the cool photos, like championship photos, things like that are hanging on the walls of the hallway, and we marked those and took those. The rest we auctioned off for a Bundle of Joy Fund charity fundraiser. And so it's barren to go through there now. The walls are empty, the wind banners are down, and I called all the old crew chiefs that have been there before, and I said, hey, any of you guys want these old KBM wind banners? Pick which ones you want. Obviously, I'm keeping all of Brexton's. I'll keep all of mine, but then the rest of the drivers like William or Eric or Bubba or whoever that have raced for us, letting them, the crew chiefs kind of have first take and first bid on those, and we'll let all of it go to